My name is Dwayne Carter. My short story today is intended to inform and update you on Senate Bill 14, also known as the Texas Voter Bill. I plan to outline today what the Texas Voter ID Bill says, what its status is now, and share some of the debate surrounding it and discuss it in the context of normal trends and voting laws. The Texas ID voter law requires voters to show 5 IDs of government-issued photo ID: driver's license, DPS ID with personal ID card, U.S. military card, U.S. citizen certificate containing a photo U.S. passport, Texas concealed gun license. The voter ID bill is just one of several changes to the state voting laws across the country that have been introduced since 2011. The opposing these voter laws changes argue the new laws are discriminatory, placing unfair burdens on minorities and poor people and young adults. For Texas voters, this shift required voters to jump through hoops. More hoops were slowed on August the 30th. A federal court rejected the bill, finding this law was the most stringent in the country and infringes on voters' rights of poor people in the state, who are predominantly racial or ethnic minorities, which violates the 1965 Voters' Rights Act. The panel pointed out that its ruling applied only to Texas, was not an indictment of all states of the photo ID laws. However, they said that it was clear that in Texas, the law is so restrictive that many individuals among the poor would not be able to obtain an acceptable ID or could not afford to do so. While poor people as such are not protected by the Voters' Rights Act, the court noted that when their numbers are greatest among minorities, like blacks and Hispanics, marked by the passage of the 1965 Voters' Rights Act, the nation has suffered years of bloodshed and uncivil unrest to expand the right to vote to all Americans. In 2011, however, that momentum seemed to have shifted. It's pretty clear that while this nation has made significant progress in expanding the right to vote, all eligible voters, that sentiment may be slowly fading. And while other states have passed more restrictive voters laws, Texas appears to be leading the pack and setting the bar. One thing that I did want to include is I wanted to show y'all how far back this has been going. And this is from my history class. I want to show you actually how far this has been going back. And see, and I'm talking about from the 1800s, I'm going to give you a bit of history. And this, with the passing of the 15th Amendment came hostility for black male suffrage. According to the historian George Timble and David Sy, whites were hostile to Republican governments because of their influx of blacks and not because of rampant corruption. Most white Southerners were so conditioned by slavery that they were unable to conceive of blacks as citizens or free agents. Terrorist groups like the Ku Klux Klan, the KKK, and the Louisiana Knights of White Camellia used threats, physical assaults, and murder to prevent blacks and their white supporters from voting. Congress passed, with the enforcement of the act in 1870 and 1871, the first levied penalties on persons who interfere with any citizen's right to vote. The second placed the election of Congress under surveillance by the federal election supervisors and marshals. The third outlawed the characteristic activities of people not wanting other people to be able to vote because of ethnicity, color of skin, and where you was raised. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Back to your day.